Hi, this is Tina Marie. Welcome to another Artful Geek Girl step-by-step video. We're unboxing the Simon Says Stamp March 2016 card kit. As you can see, it came with a few sheets of beautiful, delicious cardstock, a Tim Holtz Distress Crayon, and a couple of watercolor card designs, as well as a lollipop that my cat loved, a My Kind of Peep stamp set with the matching dies, a yellow sequin mix, and some really beautiful Carta Bella spring paper in 6x6 size. As you can see me flipping through this, this was when I first saw it, and it was really excited about all the spring pastel colors. So we're going to use some Distress inks to begin with. This is what I'm going to use for inks today for a specific reason. I'm going to start out with the bigger Peep stamp, and I'm going to put some spun sugar on there. I want these first two Peeps to be very light colored, and there is a reason for that. So I started out with the spun sugar, and now I'm going to use the scattered straw and stamp another one right beside it. And then what's really cool about this stamp set is it comes with the outline, so that this really ends up like, these really look like really cool little Peeps, especially once we add the faces later on, but they are really, really cute. So it has an outline that you can add after you've done this solid Peep, and I used some Ranger Jet Black Archival. And look at this. It just changes the whole look of the stamped image. I just loved it. And this is my first Simon Says Stamp card kit, and I am so excited to be getting some of these awesome supplies and stamps and stuff. So now I'm going to take the Distress ink, and I'm going to use it the same way I use to make art journal backgrounds. And I'm going to use my blending tool, my mini blending tool, and I'm going to use the mustard seed and the Spiced Marigold and the Picked Raspberry Distress inks, and I'm just going to blend them over on this other side of this white cardstock piece. I'm going to make a third Peep, but he's not going to be just a plain Peep. He's going to be quite the psychedelic dude. So I have blended that all together, and now I'm going to take a spritz bottle of water and make Distress do what Distress does so awesomely well, and give it that mottled look that you get when you spray it with water and then take it off with a paper towel roll. So now I want to create my psychedelic Peep, and so I just simply take the outline, and I find the mix that I want is with that blended ink, and I stamp that outline on there. And how cool is that? I really love these stamps. They're so much fun. So now I am going to do the faces, and it comes with several different expressions. They've just got the plain Peep face that we all know and love from our yummy marshmallow Peeps, and that's what I'm going to use on these first two. And just look at how this really makes them look like an actual Peep. They're just so awesome, and I know I keep saying that, but I really do love this, and I'm really glad that I signed up for the card kit. Now, on my psychedelic Peep, he's got to be winking. He's a little bit different, and that's the whole point of this card design that I'm doing. So now, nifty, I get to take out those matching dies that are going to cut these out perfectly into the shape of the Peep. So I'm just going to make sure that it stays in place with a small piece of washi tape. And I do have the magnetic base for my Big Shot, my Sizzix Big Shot, but I still like to put the washi tape on there to make sure it doesn't move. And it cut all three of them out perfectly. And now here I am off camera, kind of lining them up, trying to figure out exactly what I'm going to do as far as this card is concerned. So I decided to take some Distress ink in Mowed Lawn and my blending tool, and I am going to make some grass for them to stand in. And I'm simply going to do the whole off the edge of the card and blend it in and give it that soft blended look where some of it is a little bit darker, some of it's a little bit lighter. I really love that soft look. I'm going to clean my space up, and I'm going to take another Distress ink in the color of Salty Ocean, and I'm going to make my sky. And I'm going to do the same thing, and I'm going to try to keep it a little bit, I want some places that are a little bit darker and some places that are a little bit lighter, because I really want this to look like a sky with a few clouds peeking through every now and then. And you'll notice as I blend this down, I'm not going to take it all the way down to meet the mowed lawn. I want to keep a slight separation so that there's a little bit of white space in between for two reasons. One, I want that separation for the design, for the card design that I'm doing. But number two, because these distress inks will blend with one another, and so I don't want the green and the blue to blend. So I want to keep that little bit of separation. And as you can see, I've kind of got the darker and lighter, and I'm going to do the spray trick again, except it was too fine of a mist, and I wasn't getting the look that I wanted. So what did I do? I wiped it off to see exactly what had happened. No, it didn't show up enough. So I spritzed some in my hand and did some droplets. And then promptly panicked because they were really huge droplets. And it looked like because I didn't use watercolor paper to do this on, it looked like it was going to discolor my paper. But when it dried, it ended up being okay. But at this point, when I was making the card, I was in a little bit of a panic, I'm not going to lie. So then I took one of those really pretty Carta Bella papers in a yellow design, and I put some score tape on the back, and I'm going to use that on a pre-cut A2 card. I had already cut this out of white cardstock, and now I'm going to use this as, it's going to end up being my mat. So it's a really pretty dotted yellow. And then I'm going to take my distressed sky and grass background that's going to be used for the peeps, and I took some score tape, and I took 1/2 inch score tape this time. Not quite sure why. I don't know if I was afraid that the 1/4 inch wasn't going to hold quite so tightly, or if it just happened to be the roll that was closest to my hands, which is probably the most likely. And I am just going to place that, and I'm not too precise. I kind of just eyeball it. Some people probably wouldn't be happy with that because sometimes it's slightly askew, but I just eyeball it. And now I'm going to start placing my peeps. And I'm going to start with my first two solid colored peeps, my pink and my scattered straw, my spun sugar and my scattered straw. And I'm just going to place them at the top of the little hill there. And I know I'm off camera again, but I'm only applying score tape, I promise. It's just the 1/4 inch score tape, and I'm applying it and then ripping it off so that I can place our peep where it is. I'm really new to this whole video recording thing, especially on a tripod. And my phone is what I'm using in this case. It's pointed the other way, so I can't see what's actually on the screen, so I was kind of winging it. And then I found a really old pair of Provocraft Grass Design scissors. I have had these, I am not kidding you, since the 1990s when I was first scrapbooking and teaching scrapbooking classes. So I did some distress inking on another sheet of paper, the same way, the same blend, and then cut out a strip with these grass scissors. So see, even your old scrapbooking supplies and craft supplies can come in handy sometimes. I was really excited when I found them and realized that I still had something that I could use to make grass and didn't have to do it by hand. Now you see me giving our psychedelic peep a bit of a pop with some foam tape. And I'm just using Scotch foam tape here. I use it constantly, and I really would love to find a really big roll of it. But that's what I'm doing here. I'm just kind of ripping it down to fit his little ears, and we're going to make him more dimensional and make him pop off the page because he is our focal point. And then I'll have to do the same. I doubled up on the foam tape on the grass piece so that it was even higher than him. And now I chose a Dr. Seuss quote that says, "Why fit in when you were made to stand out?" I love that quote. It's one of my very favorite Dr. Seuss quotes. And I thought it made a really nice card that you could send to somebody. And I did that with my nested circle die. Just found the size that I wanted. Printed the sentiment on my computer, actually, and then just cut it out. And using some foam tape again to make that pop up and be a little bit dimensional. I'm going to apply that to my card, and I want it to be a little off the edge there so that it goes over the matte portion, the yellow paper portion, so that it kind of overlaps. I just kind of like that look. And then I took my trusty Pitt India ink pen, and I'm just going to outline. I just like the way that when I outline things, it kind of makes them pop a little bit. That white was really, really stark against that blended background, and it really kind of looked too plain to me. So whenever that happens, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to grab a black pen or a white pen if it's a dark colored paper, and I'm just going to create a few lines, and they're usually just little broken lines. They usually squiggle a little bit. They're not perfectly straight, but it gives a really nice look, and it does just kind of finish that look off. So then, of course, if I'm going to have a very special peep, I think he needs to have a little bit of Wink of Stella shimmer to him. So I took my Wink of Stella and applied a pretty little shimmer, but it was really hard to pick up on the camera. I do pick the card up here and move it a little bit, and you can just barely catch that shimmer, but couldn't see it really well, but it was really pretty. So then I decided that I need to have something on the inside of this very, very white card. And what better than to use my Peep stamps, and I used one of the smaller outlines and one of the really tiny solids, and I used the spun sugar, and decided to just kind of stamp them down in the lower corner. Looked really cute, and I wanted it to be really light so that it was almost like a watermark. And then there is a saying in the stamp set that says, "You're my kind of peep," and I really love it. And you notice that I kind of made a curve with it so that it curved up over the 2 bunnies. Really loved the way that that looked and the way that that turned out. So I really like the fact that it's down in that lower corner too. It's just a little bit different. And that's it. That is my stand out card. Why fit in when you can stand out? You're my kind of peep. And it's for anything. It's not just for Easter. A lot of times you might think that this was just an Easter card with the peeps, but I think it makes a great card to send anytime. So this is a really useful card.